You're back with another one. Got top 10 finals MVPs of all time by Johnny Arnett. So remember, like the video, go subscribe to the channel. Oh, I mean do that right there, but I mean, I'll set up the video, I'll subscribe. Alright, while this intro going, finals MVP don't really mean much.
Now you can stay in the know about all things
don't really
sports
mean
with the
much,
fastest
to be
growing
honest.
sports newsletter on the planet. The Sports Letter delivers must.
Go ahead and
You
get
can
your
also
bag.
pick winners. As a YouTuber who talks basketball and as just a sports fan in general, it's pivotal that I stay up to date on what's happening in the world of sports. So I definitely love it, and I think you guys
So
will
this
love
better
it
be a
too.
correct list.
Start receiving the Sports Letter and join me and more than 100,000 others who
Better be a
start their
Dwayne
day
Wade
with
on there.
sports with the link below. So what were the 10 greatest Finals MVP performances of
Because he
NBA
definitely
history?
deserves it.
Well, this list is somewhat subjective, but I think I've put together a pretty good one. First, let me establish a couple details about this list. The Finals MVP award was introduced to the league in 1969, which unfortunately means that a Wilt Chamberlain performance and all of Bill Russell's performances will not be considered for the list.
It's
Yeah,
fortunate.
it sucks, but I want to stick to the official MVP awards. And if you would like to see these legends get some love, there's plenty of other videos that do that on this channel. Also consider the fact that these are the greatest finals performances from the greatest players of all time. So just
Definitely
because
Kobe.
a specific performance doesn't make the top 10 list, doesn't mean that I didn't think it was great, or even that I didn't think it was amazing. It just means that the bar is set absurdly high. So with that being said, here's the list of honorable mentions. Got it?
Okay, you're doing it by year.
Now that I've
okay.
emotionally triggered some of you, let's continue.
So, okay, I thought
Number
it was going to
10,
be like
Dwayne
total.
Wade in 2006.
Oh,
It
10?
was a finals matchup between the
That's what I
Dallas
thought would be
Mavericks
like
and Wade's
top
Miami
5.
Heat. After Dallas took a
Top
commanding
3.
2-0 lead in the
They needed
series,
him.
that's when the dynamic 24-year-old took his game to the next level and dominated the series from that point on, in what was described at the time as a Jordan-esque type performance. On the series, Wade averaged 34.7 points, 7.8 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and 2.7 steals on 46.8% shooting.
And number 10.
3 out of the final 4 games of the series were decided by only one basket, and Wade's clutch gene was certainly the deciding factor in the series. Now you could argue that Wade should be higher on the list, but there's a lot of controversy tied to this series in terms of its refereeing, and this series from Wade holds the finals record for the most free throw attempts in a 6-game series
God
with 97.
damn.
Shaquille O'Neal in 2000 is in second place with 93 free throws, and remember, he had the Hack-a-Shaq strategy helping him get that high. In Game 5 alone, Wade shot 25 free throws, while the entire Dallas Mavericks team shot 25 free throws as well. So again, it's an incredibly impressive performance from Wade, but due to the questions of its legitimacy, I'm afraid I can't rank him any higher than the 10th spot.
Yeah, he
Number
hit the
9,
free throws, though.
Magic Johnson,
Even if they was
in
given to him, he hit them
1987.
free throws.
The 1987 Finals was the third and final matchup of that decade between the Lakers and Celtics. Offensively, Magic dominated this series in as many ways as possible, as it was one of the strongest dual-threat series the league has ever seen in terms of his scoring and facilitating. He was also
Yeah, I think that'd be
ridiculously
obvious one,
efficient,
actually.
as he shot 54.1% from the field and 96% from the free throw line. On the series, he put up 26.2 points, 13 assists, 8 rebounds, and 2.3 steals. Despite his pass-first tendencies, he actually led all players in scoring in 3 out of the 6 games that series. He also had the iconic game-winning baby skyhook in the crucial 4th game in Boston Garden. Magic ultimately led his Showtime Lakers to win the series in 6 games, and it was such a dominant performance that even Larry Bird basically conceded that Magic was the best player in the game at that point. Number 8, Shaquille O'Neal in 2002. It was the
Magic
third
was a beast,
championship
so
of the
makes sense.
Shaq and Kobe three-peat, and New Jersey basically never stood a
course Shaq's
chance.
gonna be on here
And the
too.
biggest reason for that was the fact that they had absolutely no answer for the Diesel.
Look at that
as he
big-ass
dominated
man
with
grabbing
36.3
people, like-
points, 12.3 rebounds, 3.8 assists,
Hey, you
and
stop
2.8
that.
blocks
That's a whole
on
ass team
59.5%
on Shaq.
shooting. As a result of his presence and power in the paint, all of New Jersey's bigs were consistently in foul trouble. And to top it off, Shaq hit 45 of his 68 free throw attempts during the series, which is 66.2%. That's certainly not elite, but by Shaquille O'Neal standards, that's fantastic. His 145 points over the course of the series is the most points ever scored in an NBA Finals sweep. Number
Big-ass
7,
man.
Michael Jordan in 1991. This was the highly anticipated matchup between Magic and Michael, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Chicago Bulls. The Lakers took the first game, but after that point, Jordan began to take control, and the Bulls never looked back, winning the next 4 games straight. At one crucial stretch in Game 2, Jordan hit 13 straight field goals without a miss, and finished the game with 33, 13, and 7 on a ridiculous 83% shooting. On the series as a whole, he averaged 31.2 points, 11.4 assists, 6.6 rebounds, 2.8 steals, and 1.4 blocks on 55.8% shooting. What's incredible is how he destroyed the competition at different points with his scoring and then with his facilitating, as Jordan averaged only 1 less assist than Magic did during the series, while being more efficient and outscoring him by nearly 13 points per game. It's worth mentioning that Jordan also hit the most crucial shot of the series, where he made this game-tying basket, which forced Game 3 to overtime, where they eventually prevailed. Number 6. Hakeem Olajuwon in 1995. In what was expected to be a colossal battle with Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic, Hakeem proved why he was the best and most skilled big man in the game,
I just gotta
as
see
he
the
had a
stat line
tremendous
because I
impact
ain't
on
watched
almost every
this
aspect
at
of the
all.
game.
But
On
going
the
against Shaq,
series,
it makes
he
sense.
put up 32.8 points,
Okay, yeah.
11.5 rebounds,
Oh, yeah.
5.5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks
That
on
makes sense.
48.3% shooting. The Dream led his Rockets to sweep the Orlando Magic, and he led all players in scoring in each of the 4 games. Considering the fact that they were only the 6th seed, this was one of the more improbable champions of NBA history, but it also speaks volumes about Olajuwon's clutch gene in the postseason. Number 5. Tim Duncan
Timmy
in
D.
2003.
Okay.
It was a finals matchup between Tim Duncan's Spurs and the New Jersey Nets. Many people
Poor
didn't
Nets.
witness this remarkable performance, as the 2003 championship was one of the least viewed NBA finals of league history, but those who did see it fortunately got to see the great Tim Duncan at his very best. In this series, he put up a monstrous 24.2 points, 17 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 5.3 blocks,
Wow.
49.5% shooting. The Nets had no answer for him anywhere on the court, as he started off the series in Game 1 with 32 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists, and 7 blocks in a 12-point victory. But the way he closed out the series was arguably even more impressive. In the championship-clinching 6th game, he had 21 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists, and 8 blocks, nearly getting the historic quadruple-double. But there's actually some controversy tied to this game, as many people believe that 2 more block shots should have gone to Duncan. Only 4 players in league history have ever achieved the quadruple-double, and no one has done it in the playoffs. But if these 2 blocks had counted toward Tim Duncan's total, then this would have been a quadruple-double on the game's biggest stage and in the final game of the season. That's legendary stuff, to say the least.
Those look like they were Tim
Number
Duncan's
4,
blocks, but I
Shaquille
mean,
O'Neal
what can you
in
really do about it at this
2001.
point?
It was the second of the
You cool with
Lakers'
it?
3 straight championships, and Shaq was his usual dominant self on both ends of the court.
Ooh, yeah.
He absolutely destroyed the Philadelphia Bigs with 33 points, 15.8 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and 3.4 blocks on 57.3% shooting.
They're
Shaq
not
bullying
stopping
the opponent in the
Shaq.
paint and putting up these numbers over a 5-game series is impressive enough as is. But what makes it even more astonishing is how he did this up against that season's Defensive Player of the Year, Dikembe Mutombo, and he was still unstoppable and wasn't even contained in
He
the
getting
slightest.
fouled
On
hard
the
too.
other
They
end,
slapping
the
wrists.
76ers were struggling to score in the paint, as Shaq's contested shot and his 3.4
like, "Get off
blocks
me!"
was his personal best.
Ah!
Number 3,
Come
LeBron
on,
James
Shaq.
in 2016. It's hard
Yep.
to overstate how incredible this finals performance was from the Kings.
Just yep.
A comeback from a 3-1 deficit, making one of the most iconic defensive plays of all time in the closing moments, to defeat the greatest regular season team ever, the 73-9 Warriors, while delivering the first and only championship in Cleveland Cavaliers history. Over the course of that 7-game series, he put up 29.7 points, 11.3 rebounds, 8.9 assists, 2.6 steals, and 2.3 blocks on 49.4% shooting. This is the only time in NBA Finals history where a player has led both teams in all 5 major stat categories.
Just crazy
Offensively,
to me.
defensively, and in the clutch situations, this was a legacy-defining moment for LeBron.
I heard winning a championship with
Number
Tristan
2,
Thompson is a
Michael
starting
Jordan
center.
in 1993. It was a matchup against Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns,
Making it work.
where the Bulls secured
Making
their
it
3rd
work.
straight championship in 6 games, and Jordan was arguably never better than he was in these finals. To his credit, Barkley had an incredible series of his own, but it hardly mattered because Jordan was simply on another level. On the series, he put up 41 points,
God
8.5
damn.
rebounds, 6.3 assists, and 1.7 steals on 50.8% shooting.
They're not
He
gonna
led
stop
all
that
6 games
man.
in scoring. He scored over 40 points in 4 straight games, including a 55-point performance in a close Game 4 victory, and his 41 points per game is the highest average of NBA Finals history.
2K
Dan
numbers
Marley
right
of the
there.
Phoenix Suns was a strong 6'6" wing who was on the
Don't even average that in
NBA's second
2K.
all-defense team that season, which makes him the second best defender at his position this season. But the reality is, Michael Jordan made him look like a bad defender because of how brutally he dominated him. If Jordan had just a pretty good series, then there's a good chance that the Bulls would have lost. But because he had what some consider the greatest finals performance of all time, Chicago was able to close it out in 6 games. Number 1. Shaquille O'Neal in 2000. Every once in a while, I go back and I watch this series, and it leaves me in awe each time, especially the first 2 games. In my opinion, no player has ever had a greater impact and influence on a final series than Shaq did in 2000.
Big ass
Over the
Shaq.
6
Like, what you gonna
games,
do
he
against
averaged
that?
38 points,
38.
16.7 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and 2.7 blocks on 61.1% shooting. He led all 6 games in scoring, he led 5 out of the 6 games in rebounding, and he led 5 out of the 6 games in blocked shots. The Lakers' game plan was obvious heading into the series, as they ran the offense almost completely through the diesel, and yet Indiana still couldn't slow him down, regardless of Rick Smits even having several inches on Shaq. He controlled the momentum of the game, its tempo, its physicality, and even seemingly the spirits of the opponent, as Indiana appeared demoralized at times during the opening games of Shaq's 40-point and 20-rebound performances. Between the 12 Pacers on the roster, they had a total of 159 personal fouls over the course of the 6 games, and of the 5 players who spent time guarding Shaq, they
that one
accounted
clip
for
that
102 of those fouls.
Now stop it,
As a
Shaq.
result, Shaq completely disrupted their rotations, as there was almost no aspect of the game where his influence couldn't be seen on the court. Kobe had his iconic moment in Game 4, where he sealed the game after Shaq fouled out. But other than that instance, Kobe had a terrible series, averaging only 15 points on 36.7% shooting. The biggest help
I guess
that
that's
Shaq
terrible for
had
Kobe,
was
but
all the shooters he
that's
freed up
not-
by
shoot,
drawing the
if I
extra
shot
attention
15%
by having
or
the defense
36%,
collapse upon
15
him.
points a
So in a
game
sense, Shaq even
in the
deserves
finals,
some
bro,
credit
I
for their
would-
success as well.
shoot.
When you consider production
I'll
and
count that as
overall
success.
positive impact on the game,
I'm still
2000 Shaq
dropping
is my
15.
choice for the greatest finals MVP of all time. Was anyone too low? Or how about too high?
Honestly, you shouldn't
Or
even
maybe
number
someone
these. Just
didn't even
put
crack
put
the
them
list who should have.
10
Let me know
great
your
as
thoughts in
like
the comments
these are the
below.
top 10.
Thanks for watching as
no
always.
order.
Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
No, I like that. I like that video. Oh, I did not mean to do that. I like that video though. I like that video. Johnny Arnett. Guys, go sub up to him. Go sub up to Johnny Arnett.